everyone, welcome back to the Pre-Cal 40S videos. In this one we're going to talk about, in 3.2, this is outcome R11, we're going to talk about the remainder theorem as a whole of what's the point of the outcome. But first what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through long division and remind you how to do long division using polynomials. First, if we can take a little trip back to grade 11 and look at this question here. It says divide the following expression. So the way we'd approach this last year would be to factor the numerator, which would end up being x plus 5 and x plus 3. And we would, the denominator is already factored, and we would just simply reduce these common factors that are here, and that would simplify to x plus 5. All right, we would also talk about restrictions. Remember, if anything makes the denominator 0, it's not allowed. So we would have also said where x is not allowed to be -3. Now let's look at the same exact question, but now it's set up a little differently. Just to be clear, this is our dividend, our divisor is this x plus 3, and then our quotient is the answer. That's what's going to end up on top here. First thing we want to do is we want to look at this x and this x squared, and you want to think, okay, what times x is going to give me x squared? Well, that's x. So we place that there, and then we take this x and we multiply it through here, and then we write the answer just below. So it's x squared plus 3x. All right. The next thing we would do is we would subtract. So x squared minus x squared is 0. That's what we want. And 8x minus 3x is 5x. Then what we do is we bring down that 15, and now we go through the same process where we say, okay, what times x is going to give me 5x? And that is going to be 5. Okay, so then you take your 5 and you multiply it with this here. You've got 5x plus 15, and now when you take this and subtract, you end up with 0. Getting a 0 here tells you that there is no remainder, and now this is your answer when you divide this by this. Okay, so just so you have it here, your answer can be written in a couple of different forms. Your dividend over your divisor, and that's equal to your quotient plus the remainder over the divisor, or the dividend is equal to the divisor times the quotient plus the remainder. So you could write it in either one of these two ways. So you've got your x plus 5 plus, so this is the first way, plus your remainder, which is 0 over x plus 3. Or the second way, which is your dividend, or we could write it in the second way, which is the dividend equals so that's the x squared plus 8x plus 15 is equal to the divisor, which is your x plus 3 times your quotient, which is the answer that we got, and plus our remainder. So our remainder in this case is 0. And you can quickly see that if you multiply this out, you're going to end up with the answer again. So here we've just restated that the restriction on the variable is x cannot equal to -3 since division by 0 is not defined. And to verify, just multiply it through and add the remainder. Okay. Now, in the next example here, this is exactly the same, just another example. So if you want, you could hit pause on this and then fast forward a little bit to see what your answer is. All right, so going through this example very quickly, let's just look at x cubed and x. So what do we have to multiply x by to get x cubed? And that's x squared. Take x squared, multiply it here. You've got x cubed minus x squared, and then we're going to subtract that. So if you want, you could just get rid of the brackets and change the signs in here, and then add down. And then we get here 0x cubed, and this gives us negative x squared. Bring down the 6x, and then think, okay, so what times x is going to give us negative x squared? That's going to be negative x. Negative x times x is negative x squared minus, and then multiply it with that as well. So that's plus x. So we want to subtract that, right? So we could just get rid of the bracket, change the signs, and add down. This gives you 0x squared. This gives us 5x, and then bring down the negative 12 over here, and then this is going to give us a plus 5 here. 5x minus 5, and subtract down. We could change the sign and then add, and we get 0x and negative 7. So this means that our remainder is negative 7. If you want, you could just for the sake of knowing, the dividend is this polynomial that we start with. Our divisor is our x minus 1. Our quotient is the x squared minus x plus 5. That's our answer. And then our remainder is negative 7. Okay, so if we're looking at the restriction on the variable, we're going to look at the divisor, and we're going to note that x minus 1 is not allowed to be 0. Therefore, x cannot equal 1. And the reason is because if we were to write this question out like this, so we could write x cubed minus 2x squared plus 6x minus 12 over x minus 1, we could see that this is where the restriction comes from. Okay, so then our final answer is written as this. Minus, and then you've got your 7 over x minus 1. Okay? You could also write it where you have your quotient, so your answer, times your divisor, and you add on your remainder. Okay, so this synthetic division, I'm going to do this in the next video along with the remainder theorem.